So we're back with the series, So You Want to Play Industrial Music Live. This is part 4, and I'm going to discuss some things like what was your worst live experience, your best live experience, what are some of the positives and negatives playing solo with a drummer or with a guitarist, or all three or whatever. And I'll discuss what's a good balance of backing tracks and live parts, live performed parts. So we'll just get into it. And so what was my worst live experience, or Twitch's worst live experience? And I have to say the worst experience we ever had was I think it was last year or the year before. We were playing with Voice Industry at a venue here called the Night Owl, and you know, our rehearsals and everything went well and all that kind of stuff. You know, my computer's doing fine, and then we get to the show, and for some fucking reason my laptop decided to fuck up, and you know, skipping parts of songs or audio cutting in and out and stuff like that. And throughout that whole set we pretty much got to play 2 songs, and the rest of it we just said fuck it, because yeah, there was no way I was going to be able to troubleshoot whatever was going on. We were given time to troubleshoot, and I did, but unfortunately I couldn't fix it. So that was probably our worst live experience. I've played with Voice Industry before. It was actually one of my first shows, or actually the first show I ever did, and yeah, that was a good show. But yeah. So what was the best live experience that Twitch has had so far? And I couldn't really pick one, so I picked 2. The first one was Sphere. We opened for Sphere. I can't remember who else played that show. And you know, I love performing and all that kind of stuff, and I think technically and performance-wise, and you know, just being as tight as we were, the performance went well, and it was probably one of our better performances in that aspect. Just everything being pulled off really good. The only thing was that there was like no one in the bar, so it's kind of like, oh fuck, we had such an excellent show, but no one was there. But still, one of our best live performances, just for the performance aspect, because everything went so smoothly and stuff like that. So the other one was Melted Mirror, and that show we were playing at Broken City, and I can't remember who was on the who was on the bill. I think it was Apoapsis, us, and Melted Mirror, and that show did very well. It's probably one of our better shows. You know, lots of people and all that kind of stuff. In the end, for myself, I don't care about that. Like, in the end, I just want to perform, but you know, it was probably one of our better shows performance-wise, and just the amount of people that were in the bar and stuff. So, so yeah, that was the best live experiences that we've had. I'm gonna get into what are some of the positives and negatives of playing solo and with a drummer, and then with a guitarist. So some of the positives of playing solo is that it's solo. You don't have to worry about other band members being late or anything like that, and you know, rehearsing is easy because it's just you. But some of the negatives is that it's solo, so when you're performing, you know, you got to put on a show. Not like you're not putting on a show, you know, for for other shows and stuff, but you know, there's more of a there's more pressure in the sense that you have to. I'm not sure I would say compensate for not having other band members there, but at the same time it is kind of compensating almost. Or you just do things differently and you make a show out of it. So I don't really have any other positives or negatives with playing solo. I think those are pretty much it, but yeah. So some of the positives and negatives with playing with a drummer. If your drummer's good, he won't need a click track. So you know, you don't have to worry about that. But if he's new to it, or he just wants to have that extra metronome in his ear while the tracks are playing, so he has the cues and stuff for the different parts of the songs and stuff, that is something that, you know, you have to be concerned about when you're playing with a drummer. Click tracks, and the other negative thing is that if the drummer goes off time, you're fucked. Your song is, you know, obviously it can get corrected and stuff, but the crowd will notice, like, especially with playing any kind of industrial or electronic or industrial music with a live drummer, is if the drummer goes off time, everyone will hear it. You know, from most of the time people are forgiving unless it's like really fucking bad, but yeah, that's some negatives as far as having a drummer. The positives are, it adds to the live element. You know, sometimes the drumming can be a little different from the original tracks and stuff like that, so you know, it lends to a different performance. Like when we were first doing performances with a drummer, or when the drummer and I were doing performances, you know, the drumming was a little different from the recorded tracks, and there was two reasons for that. One was, you know, I didn't write the tracks having the drumming in mind, where it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense and this is playable. A lot of my tracks back then were, you know, you have drumming parts that are happening while other drumming parts are happening, and you know, it's actually you know, not humanly possible to play those parts. So the drumming was a little bit different than our tracks, so I think it lent for an original performance, and you know, something different, so it's not the same as the tracks. And I think, you know, I mean, you could cite many examples of bands doing that, where it's slightly different than you know, the actual recorded tracks. Like, live versions are slightly different or tweaked a little bit, and you know, some bands, as an example, 9 Inch Nails, sometimes they tweak their songs a little bit and change things up so it's different for performances and stuff, just so people don't get bored and so the band doesn't get bored playing shows and stuff. So performing with a live guitarist, some of the positives and negatives are, for someone like myself who doesn't really read sheet music or music, I don't really, everything I do is generally with sound. So for me, you know, translating guitar parts, you know, fortunately I found a guitarist, Brooke, who can learn things by ear and then translate it into notation, so he has something he can look at while we're rehearsing and learning new songs and stuff like that. So so that might be a difficulty for anyone that's not really, doesn't really have any music theory knowledge or can read notation or anything like that, but they're playing guitar parts but doing it by ear or whatever. So I can't really think of any other negatives because, you know, guitar parts are pretty forgiving, at least for us. They have been. Like, it's not fucking complicated, you know. It could be a testament to Brooks' skill level of playing, so at least it seems like he pulls it off pretty easily, and you know, yeah, they're easy to incorporate, and I think that's a positive. So any other positives? I mean, obviously, a negative could be, you know, there's more people to worry about on the stage, so, you know, setup time might take longer or whatever, but I think those are minor things. Another positive is, yeah, easy to incorporate. Once they're learned, it's, you know, the parts are it's fairly forgiving in that sense, because you know, if the guitarist fucks up, it's, or at least our guitarist, if he fucks up, it's, you know, for him it's easy to fix that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's it for positives and negatives of, you know, doing a solo show or having a drummer or having a live guitarist. So the last piece I'm going to cover is what's a good balance of backing tracks and live parts. And to be quite honest with you, it really is up to the band or the, you know, the performer, because, you know, so I've seen some performers do basically karaokeing, and they're using their iPhones to just plug into the PA system and play their tracks that way, and then they put on this fucking amazing solo live set and just do vocals. So I've seen that being done, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, as long as, like, I think the key is that as long as you put on a good performance and you have good stage presence, I don't think it really matters how many backing, what you know, what you have for backing tracks versus live perform parts. I will tell you what I prefer, and for me it's, you know, for some songs it's just me singing, you know, fucking around with vocal effects and stuff live, or I'm playing, you know, the synthesizer for certain parts, or I'm just singing. So I think it's really up to the band or the performer to decide that. Yeah, you got to do what works for you in the end. Like, yeah, you got to do what works for you and what's fun for you. Like, I just do what's fun for me and what works for me, and, you know, obviously you want to, at least in, you know, my thinking is, you know, if you get bored of doing things a certain way, then you change it up, and you know, maybe people in the crowd will notice it's different, and maybe they get excited about that or whatever. So that's it for this video. This is part 4 of So You Want to Play Industrial Music Live. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Also, if you have questions, any more questions, you know, leave them in the comments section. Maybe you can leave your performance. If you're a performer, maybe leave your performances. You know, how you do it for balancing backing tracks, or your best and worst live experiences, or you know, what your you know, what are some of the positives and negatives of, you know, playing solo versus, if you've done that. If you haven't done playing solo, or as a two-piece with a drummer, or whatever. So yeah, leave a comment. If you find value in this video, please share it, and if you like this channel and the content on the channel, please subscribe. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.